Screen Time Stories is presented by Pinwheel. Pinwheel gives kids and teens a smartphone experience that actually supports healthy development. I'm Julie, and as a parent, I know that embracing technology today is a must. Our kids will log on whether we like it or not. So let's lean into the challenges and joys of parenting with tech by learning from the latest research and experts in the field. This is Screen Time Stories, parenting techniques for raising tech natives. Let's figure this out together. Today we're talking about the pinnacle of innovation, creativity, and wealth. Well, at least in our kids' eyes. Talking about iPhones. I want to focus on iPhones today for a couple of reasons. One, our kids ask for them by name. And two, we could very easily dust off an old model as a hand-me-down. How many kids do you know use an iPhone connected to Wi-Fi? I can always tell because my kids' friends will ask me for my Wi-Fi password when they come over for the first time. Not surprisingly, a family reached out to me recently to get a better understanding of what exactly they're getting into by giving their kids their old iPhone. First off, it is awesome that they're doing their homework prior to taking this step, because it's much easier to start our kids off on a small scale. If we give our kids the same tech experience that's designed for adults, we'll face a ton of pushback once we realize that it's too much and we try to dial it back. I find it interesting that about half of American teens feel addicted to their smartphones to the point of wanting to cut back. That's based on a recent Pew Research study. I think it's sad that they have to fight this battle in the first place, and I wonder if we start our kids off on a smaller scale and then gradually add features and platforms that match their maturity levels, would this issue continue to be so prevalent? I'm not talking about being a helicopter parent, but simply recognizing that their developing brains are not ready for full autonomy. So we as parents need to support their growth in a more gradual way. Okay, so let's get into it by reviewing some common iPhone hacks and parental control features. iPhone offers a lot of parental controls, but honestly, it's more like an illusion of safety since the hacks, loopholes, and workarounds are endless. I'm not exaggerating by saying endless either. With every new platform and upgrade, it only takes one kid to figure it out and share the secret instantly on the internet. So just to illustrate how little control we have over our kids' device use, here's a handful of examples that I found. Here's the first one. After a kid reaches their maximum screen time limit, they can send messages to their friends by dictating through Siri. If you want to block YouTube through parental controls, your kid can just open up iMessage and use the embedded YouTube link to watch whatever they want. Once your kid's time limit is up, they can just delete and then reinstall the app to restart the clock. If your kid is really sneaky, they can turn on screen recording, and once you have the device in your hand and you type in your passcode, they'll be able to see that later and bypass or disable their limits that you've set for them. And here's a simple one. They can simply change their time zone to increase their screen time. That's just a small list, super small list of what our kids can do. But we also have to keep in mind that developers create and share ways to make sneaky behaviors easier. For example, someone developed a porn app that has an interface that looks like a food ordering app. There's another one that looks like a calculator, but it hides photos, videos, passwords, documents, whatever you want to hide, all under the disguise of a calculator. And even with parental controls, we can't access the content that's hidden inside. So what are our options? I'll go over some tips for trying to lock down the iPhone a little bit better, but I will take a second to plug Pinwheel here because it was designed for super smart kids. And my son can hack just about any parental control, but Pinwheel is on another level. We get the chance to open up or lock down as many features as we feel that our kids are ready for. And when they ask for a certain app, I get to preview a custom, unbiased description of that specific platform. And it tells me exactly what to anticipate, even what dangers and loopholes they're able to access, so that I can make the best decision for my kid. And that's just me. And I know that everyone is coming to the tech table with different backgrounds and needs. So if the hand-me-down iPhone is the path you're planning to take, just try to take steps to stay ahead of your kid. So you'll want to wipe your old data by performing a factory reset. You want to set up the screen time function. And screen time allows you to do a few things. You can block or limit apps, control contacts, get an idea of how your kid is using the phone and prevent them from making changes to the settings. Remember the time zone hack? So you can also use screen time to help prevent access to mature content and place time limits on the device and specific apps. You can limit the times of day that your kid uses their phone, like during homework and at bedtime. And you can set up location services to keep track of where your kids are when they're out on their own. If you have really small kids, you could potentially just toggle on airplane mode to prevent them from accessing certain things. But in my experience, this won't last long. Just remember that it's a much better experience to start your kids off with a few limited features and then introduce more privileges and responsibilities as they mature. The bottom line here is that kids are smart, so freaking smart and determined. So there's a pretty decent possibility that our kids will get in over their heads if we give them an adult smartphone. It just wasn't designed with their well-being in mind, and I kind of hate the illusion of safety that iPhone screen time gives. I know this all sounds a bit overwhelming, but just do your best to know what you're up against. And more importantly, stay involved in their tech-facing lives, just like you do in their unplugged lives. Ask questions, share stories, and let them know what they need to know at an age-appropriate level. We can't control our kids, but we can strengthen our relationships, and that is the most powerful tool we have in keeping our kids and teens on the right track. Well, thank you so much for listening today. I hope this overview of iPhone hacks helped out a lot. And if you have any questions about the nuances of parenting with tech, I'd love to hear about it and help you solve the issue with the help of experts and research. Just email me what your story is at julie@pinwheel.com. This episode of Screen Time Stories was produced by me, and I'll launch another one next week. So hit subscribe to stay in the loop.